Hey guys, how y'all doing today? My name is Franchise Fanatic and welcome back to the channel. And today, if you can tell by the thumbnail, title, and my shirt, I am reviewing the latest and greatest and final Indiana Jones film, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Now, this is going to be a non-spoiler review because if this is coming out either on the 30th or the day after, obviously it just came out for like normal people. So I am, obviously not going to ruin anything. So if you don't want to get spoiled, you're welcome. I'm not going to ruin anything. In a few weeks or whatever, I can do that. I can make a spoiler discussion, whatever. But right now, no spoilers. Now, before we get into the actual review, I gotta clear the air, because as we know, Twitter and Reddit and the internet is a cesspool of death and toxicity, and the negative, aspect of this film and the way people are, genetically engineered in the modern era is that if they read something, I'm saying they because that's not me, I'm not an idiot, people read something on the internet and they assume it's Bible, and this movie is scheduled to tank because of that. For instance, I'm going to clear the air here. People have been saying this movie is a woke disaster. Indiana Jones cries in the corner, and Helena Shaw, his goddaughter, is the badass, and she gets the whip, and she wears the hat in the end, and she beats up all the Nazis, and she's the best, and Indiana Jones is just the old, helpless, hapless, broken old man that cries all the time, and he's horrible, and he doesn't do anything, and he's broken, and he falls down, and all this crazy stuff. The movie ends, and it's so bad, and he gets shot in the head, and Helena becomes the best, and Helena goes back in time, and, in the end, I read a leak online where, in the end, it shows like a montage of Helena wearing the hat and the whip, and they just replace Indy with Helena in the first 4 movies. I gotta tell you, I saw the movie. I don't have proof, but I saw the movie, okay? Not like these idiots on Twitter that say, I saw it and it was woke. I saw the movie. It's not woke, okay? It's not woke. Helena, I'll tell you this, Helena does not become the next Indiana Jones. I'm not gonna say what happens to Indiana Jones, but she does not wear the hat and don the whip. That does not happen. Period. Indiana Jones does not cry in the corner like a little bitch, like they say online, little bitch, that's the words they used. He does not do that. He does get teary-eyed one time, which I won't spoil why, but he does not cry in the corner while the skinny white woman beats up all the Nazis. That's not how it happens. That does not happen in the movie. If you read online that anything that was alarming regarding woke, or that it's a liberal movie, or I was talking with a friend and I heard Indiana Jones is gay and all this other bullshit. He's not gay, okay? They don't even mention that. That's not even a thing. Again, 99% of the leaks you will read are all fake, and you should not listen to them. You should not believe in them. You should go out and see this movie in theaters and support this stuff, because it's a darn good final Indiana Jones movie. Alright, I did read some leaks. They turned out to be true. I did read some leaks. 99% of them were complete BS. I'm not telling you which is which. Again, all I'll say is that Indiana Jones is not a little baby. Helena is not She-Hulk. She's not perfect at everything. She's not a Mary Sue. People don't even know what the hell that word means. I do. And then also, she does not become Indiana Jones. She does not physically wear the hat and get the whip, and there's no montage of her. It doesn't happen. What does happen in the movie is freaking incredible. Again, I know this is going to be a very controversial statement, but Kingdom of the Crystal Skull might be my favorite before watching this film. After watching Dial of Destiny, after seeing all 5 of these movies, I don't know which is my favorite now. It's a toss-up. This one's really freaking good. It really is. There's one thing, as far as negatives, I'll just get into that. The beginning of the movie has like a 20-25 minute, prologue, prelude of young Indiana Jones, and he's de-aged with CGI, AI, whatever. It's in the trailers, and it looks genuinely good. Okay, I know people online, of course, Twitter, they go, it's actually really bad. I could do it on my PC better. All that crap. It doesn't, no. Objectively, it looks good, okay? I have glasses on, and it looks good, okay? I'm not like half blind. It looks good, okay? There's a few shots that are a little wonky. With the lighting, I could tell when Indy moves his face, his lips are a little rubbery. So look, it's not perfect. I'll give you a little hint, a little clue, okay, if you didn't figure this one out already. Since the dawn of God, since Adam and Eve, all right, in the garden, humans are like hardwired, like computers were hardwired to understand what a human looks like. It's billions and millions, whatever the hell, billions of years of humans on Earth seeing other humans. So yeah, there's a little ticker in my brain saying that's not a friggin' human, but at the same time it doesn't ruin anything, and for the most part looks really good. Again, there's like 1 or 2 shots. I'm being really stingent. There's this scene in the trailer where Basil, I think, Basil Shaw, Hell and his father, they're on that train and he kind of shoots Indy, and Indy like catches the bolt or something, and he goes ow, and if you pay attention in the trailer, he says ow like that, and his mouth doesn't move. It's just like that. I didn't like that in the trailer. I thought, oh, okay, well, it's just they're still working on the movie. Sad to report that scene where he says, ow, and he doesn't, it's still like that. So, that's a negative, but it's hard to notice in motion. I was paying attention to it because I saw it in the trailer. Technically, it is a negative. He says, ow, he doesn't mouth the words, ow. That's a mistake. Some of the lighting on his face is a bit wonky, but that's really it. Now, there are 2 shots I noticed in this entire movie. When you go to the 60s and you see Indiana Jones, old man Indiana Jones, there's 2 shots. Look a little bit wonky. There's that scene in the trailer where he's on the horse and he the parade or whatever, he turns his head. You can clearly tell that's a stunt guy, and it's Indiana Jones' face CGI'd over the stunt guy. That's the only shot. There's another shot where he kind of tumbles on some things. Again, they released that one too online. That, for like a split second, it looked a little blurry. But again, I'm a YouTuber, I'm reviewing a movie, that I'm looking for that stuff. You know what I mean? My dad and my mom, my nanny and poppy, who also saw it with me, I'm sure didn't notice it. Because they're not reviewing it, they don't care, they're just having fun. I was looking for errors while also having fun. But at the same time, yeah, there's 1 or 2 gripes here and there. Now, my biggest issue with the movie, which I'm not docking at points, because as you guys know, when I make a movie review, I don't review a movie, and I don't think anyone should review a movie like this. I don't care who you are. If you're freaking Roger and Ebert, whatever, no one should review a movie or a game or anything. No one should review anything based on what you wanted to see. You should review a piece of media that is what you saw, not what you wanted to see. You know what I mean? Like with the sequels with Snoke. Oh, Snoke should have been Jar Jar Binks. Snoke should have been Mace Windu. And then it turns out he was, a Palpatine clone, but it's a failed one at that. But basically, you shouldn't review a movie like that, So there's a moment, which I won't spoil, toward the end of the film, which I'm not a big fan of. I think they should have done it. If I was James Mangold, this guy, there's literally a quadrillion ideas you could have for how to do this one scene, and the one thing he picked was kind of retarded, I'm not gonna lie. It was kind of stupid. But I understand why the choice was made. When you see the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. When you see, I'll say it involves a punch, okay? There's a lot of punches in this movie, so it's very vague. But there's a thing that happens in the end of the film where I'm like, okay, if I was the director, I would have done that differently. I wouldn't have had that happen. I understand why it happened. So I'm not an idiot. I understand why it happened, but I would have done it differently. But again, I'm not docking points because I'm not reviewing it on what I wanted. It's what I got. And what I got, it works within the movie. Is everyone going to love it? No. But the explanation is given. Again, people on Twitter and Reddit, I'm talking to you specifically, you idiots on Twitter, you know who you are. There's also some guys on YouTube as well. They do stretch the truth. They lie. Either they haven't seen it and they're just going off leaks, or they did see it and they're trying to exaggerate the truth for BS clicks, right? You see these ultra-liberal channels saying one thing. You have the ultra-Republican channels saying one thing. There's no really wokeness in this movie at all. I couldn't, none. I mean, I guess we'll start off at the beginning. Indiana Jones is great. Harrison's great. Teddy, he's probably the worst actor in the whole film. He's not bad. If I had to pick one, though, he's like short round, except he's not Asian, and he's a little older. He's like, I don't know. He has like stubble, so I'd say he's 13, 14 maybe. He's good. Now, Helena, we gotta talk about Helena. Phoebe Waller motherfudging Bridge, okay? Fleabag herself. You've seen all this shit online. I know you've read it. People saying, oh, like I said, she dons the hat, or she's the main character. Indiana Jones is actually the sidekick. Or, he cries, he cries in the corner, and, you know, little skinny twig of a woman beats all the Nazis up, right? Like I said in the beginning. That doesn't happen. Now, I will tell you this. Helena is well written. She's actually well acted. I think Phoebe does a good job acting in this film. They do give reasons why. Like, she understands the stuff about Archimedes and the dial, not because she's written to know it magically, because she's a Mary Sue. She's written that way because they give an explanation in the film, which I won't spoil, but she is written well. There is no woke stuff where Indy's crying, knitting a sweater like in some jackass's thumbnail, and she's punching everyone, and she's, you know, John Wicking everything. Yes, she does throw a few punches. But you would too if you were in a chokehold and a guy with a goddamn gun is at your neck. What are you gonna do? Let him shoot you? You know what I mean? So yeah, nothing is unrealistic about her character. Nothing is woke. Nothing is feminist. Nothing is any of that. The garbage piece of trash political climate that we're in will tell you otherwise. But objectively, again, if you don't believe me, go watch the movie. Everything is explained. There's nothing where it's like, oh man, she just did that and wait a minute, she can fly? She doesn't fly. But as an example, right, it's like that. It's like people online expect her to start flying like goddamn Superman, shooting lasers out of her eyes. That doesn't happen. She's a human. She makes mistakes. In fact, the reason why she's even in this movie is a fault. She makes mistakes. There's tons of faults that she makes. So no, she's not a Mary Sue. She's not perfect. She's actually written very well, which I was kind of nervous about, but I'm very glad it turned out to be the case. Voller, Mads Mikkelsen, I call him the Mad Milkman. He is good in this. Of course, he just looks like a villain, right? He's, I guess, kind of a villain in Rogue One. Jyn Erso's dad, but not really Galen Erso. He's the villain in Fantastic Beasts. Well, I guess he's Grindelwald after the Johnny Depp Amber Turd stuff. Don't even get me started on that. And then he is also in this as well. He's in other stuff, I'm sure, but he plays a good villain. He's probably, I'd say, before I saw this movie, Irina Spalko was the best villain because she actually does stuff and she fights with a sword and she's intimidating. Renee Belloc is just whatever. He's kind of a rival. Mola Ram's just a crazy dude. Donovan's just nothing. And Irina Spalko's the best. But I think Voller is probably the best villain. I think he's intimidating. His motive for wanting the dial is there. He does, shoot some people. He doesn't just talk all the time like Renee. So yeah, I think he's a good addition. CGI-wise, again, there's a few things that don't add up in the beginning. There's one or two scenes where you could tell it's a face replacement, but again, Harrison Ford is 80-something years old. They're not going to have him on a horse with a train going behind him say, okay, Harrison, go! You know what I mean? Now, to his credit, okay, go watch the behind the scenes. Harrison Ford does do a lot as Indiana Jones. He is on that horse. He is driving a tuk-tuk in Morocco. He is doing a lot of the stuff. He's punching guys. He's whipping with his whip. He's doing 90% of it. It's just that extra 10 that legally, I'm assuming, an 80-year-old should not be allowed to do because he would effing die on the movie set, and James Mangold, the director, would be in jail for manslaughter. You know what I mean? Like, people are expecting, like, Uncharted or Tintin levels. Oh, it's not actually him. No shit. You know what I mean? He's 80. You know what I mean? But for his credit, he does do a lot of stuff, and he does really do a lot of it, which is really nice to see. Again, some basic stuff out of the way. The music by John Williams is great. John Williams is essentially great in everything he does. I don't think he's written a bad piece of music yet. This is no exception. Nothing necessarily stood out. I was like, wow, this is crazy. But, when the dun, 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 that music kicks in, it's like, all right, this is cool. This is cool. Now, this was the first Indiana Jones movie I ever saw in theaters, so that was cool. But there's no bias I had, this is the first one, so it's automatically the best. No, I genuinely think this is one of the best Indiana Jones movies. I think it's really, really good. Again, there's some negatives here or there. There's one thing I would have filmed differently, but again, I understand why they did it. I'm not saying it was a dumb decision. I'm just saying I would have done it differently, but the reason why this happens makes sense. There's a few CGI things with the beginning, and basically the CGI gripes are the face replacements for Indiana Jones, whether he's younger or whether he's older, and they're trying to pretend that it actually is him doing those stunts. There's barely any of that in there, but what is in there, I noticed, because I have really good vision now that I have glasses. So that's cool. I guess it's a blessing and a curse, really. But the ending, I won't spoil, but I do think that the choices made, this is a solid ending to the character. Whether he lives, whether he dies, whether someone else becomes Indiana Jones, don't worry, it's not a woman, it's not Helena. I'm not telling you what happens to Indiana Jones, and don't ruin it in the comments either if you have seen it for anyone else. Again, I'm trying to give you guys like a mental message to go and see this movie in theaters. because it's not doing, and I know it just came out today, but it's not projected to do well. And again, I think 90% of that is idiots online reading something and believing it and not actually finding out for themselves. I went to do that. I don't care if this movie got a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, right? I know when it went at Cannes or Cannies, they were like, oh, it's got a 30%, oh my god. I don't care. This could have gotten a negative friggin' 60. I'm a massive Indiana Jones fan, if you could tell. I'm franchise fanatic. I'm seeing this movie day one no matter what happens. And after walking out of that movie, and I had some complaints here or there. Nothing, it wasn't perfect. Really my only issue was the CGI. But really what really matters, as this is the final Indiana Jones movie, does this work not only as an Indiana Jones movie, but does it work as the end of Indiana Jones as a whole? It's a great Indiana Jones movie. It feels much like the originals. Again, I love Crystal Skull too, but this one felt like straight out of Raiders, the way it's shot and edited and framed and all of that. It also has really good characters, really good action. This is probably the most violent Indiana Jones movie yet. I mean, there's no gore like in Raiders, but there's some pretty violent stuff in this. I know, some people online said, oh, well, it's a Disney movie, so they PG'd it up. No. First of all, let me correct people on that. Disney did not make this movie. Lucasfilm made the movie. Disney owns the movie. Two separate things. And no, this is a Disney movie, yet it's the most violent one yet. And also the most mature, the most poignant. This is the one that gives Indiana Jones character. Right? You watch Raiders, Temple, Last Crusade, Crystal Skull. None of those movies have, they have little tidbits, but none of them have these massive moments where like, wow, this Indiana Jones learned a lesson, or he went through an arc. This movie, he did that. It's not as good as Luke in The Last Jedi, but it is definitely pretty good for what it is. But the way the film ends, right, the final moments and that last shot, right, it works. It really, really works. It's the way they did it, man. The ending is really, really good. I teared up a few times. It's very poignant. Again, if you come into that mindset thinking it's going to be a woke piece of garbage, please don't. It is not. It's not like a Republican thing. It's just a movie. Thank Christ. It's just a movie. Thank God. You know what I mean? Man, I was nervous it was going to be a woke disaster, but no, I mean, it's a good movie. Indiana Jones is weak, right? He's not only old, but he's just mentally, he's exhausted, and he doesn't feel like he should go on anymore, right? It feels like time forgot about him. There's nothing left in this life. And in the end of the movie, he learns a lesson. And I'm not going to tell you what that is, but there is an arc in there which is really great. Again, I'm one of those rare people that actually understands movies. I can connect the dots. Especially with the Star Wars sequel trilogy, people don't understand Luke in The Last Jedi because they don't understand film, and they never understood Luke as a character. I know, it's true. And same thing here. If people are going, oh, he's old and he's crying. He's a human. He's not Jesus Christ himself, you know what I mean? And the way they handle this character's arc is fantastic. The action is really, really good. There's a lot of really cool action scenes, really great chase scenes. There's that whole underwater thing which was in the trailer, barely in the trailer. But that's good. Some people saying where the second act was kind of a little bit of a lull, kind of like a stall. Like, okay, this is kind of boring. It wasn't to me. I thought it was really good, really well paced. Of course, not every scene has to have action, right? There's a good blend of action, good blend of humor, really good writing, good acting across the board, good special effects for the most part. And again, those first 20 minutes, it's peak old indie. But then when you get to the actual film itself, it doesn't feel like something out of place. It feels perfectly in character. So, there's one or two things I would have changed, which was obviously is not going to impact the rating. It's just personal. I'm sure I'll get over it once I think about it. Because it's a lot, look, it's a lot to, if you've seen it, it's a lot to digest. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. But people bitching about Crystal Skull, oh, there's aliens, what? This is too crazy. Indiana Jones survives a nuke in a fridge. How dare they? No. Let me break some more hard truths before I go here. Indiana Jones has always been a quote-unquote fantastical element to it, right? It's never been grounded in reality. Much like how John Wick is confirmed to be in like an alternate world where there's seedy underbellies and John Wick is just seemingly impossible to kill. It's like that. Look, I believe in God. So I obviously believe in the Ark of the Covenant and all that, but, for those that don't, or just whatever, the first movie, you got the Ark of the Covenant, right? Ghosts come out and blow people's faces off. Temple of Doom has these stones that heal and burn through stuff. A guy, Mola Ram, rips a dude's heart out, and it's still beating, and the guy's alive until he gets burned. Last Crusade has the frickin' cup of God or cup of Jesus, and you drink it and it gives you eternal life. And then the fourth movie has aliens. This one's got some stuff, and all of it feels in universe. Even Crystal Skull, I will stand on. I will make a video talking about that. Okay, it perfectly makes sense. Him surviving that nuke, it makes sense. This movie franchise has always been about crazy escapades, near escapes, and supernatural elements mixed in with the reality of archaeological finds and action adventure. It's always been that way, and it's always going to be that way. And it's like that in this film. So no, people will find it controversial, but I guarantee the people that will find this controversial are the idiots on Twitter that either haven't seen it or have seen it and just don't like to apply logic and reasoning, much like the sequel trilogy. So yeah, it's the same kind of thing there. To put your worries at rest, it's not woke. Everything makes sense. It's a fun adventure. It pays homage to the old movies and as well as some really good stuff in the new here. You know, the present stuff. It ends really good. I'm not going to tell you how it ends, but it ends on a good note, for me at least. And yeah, I had a great time with this. So I'm going to give Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny probably an A-. Just that CGI stuff where they were really hyping up. They really wanted you to believe, oh yeah, this is going to blow your mind. And it did. But there's a few CGI things in there that kind of took me out of it for the brief moment, kind of broke my immersion. Again, there's one or two things I wouldn't have filmed or would have changed, but again, I'm not going to count that toward my review because, as I said, you shouldn't review a movie on what you wanted. You review it on what you got. And again, if you saw the movie, like I said, you know what I'm talking about. What we did get, they explain it, and it makes sense within the story. It doesn't just happen, and then it's like, oh, I don't know, we reshot it, and I hope you like it. No, there's reasoning to everything in this movie, and if you apply your brain cells to it, which a lot of people on the internet don't like to do, not talking to you specifically, I'm just talking to idiots on Twitter. I know you do because you're subscribed. I hope you are. You're cool, but I definitely you know, use your brain, and it definitely makes sense within the lore. Trust me. But as a solid conclusion to Indiana Jones, it's a solid conclusion. I mean, it is. You know, I grew up, I don't want to say I grew up with Indiana Jones, because I probably saw Raiders of the Lost Ark when I was a little too young. But, you know, I played the Lego games, I watched all the movies, I had a bunch of the books. I'm a massive Indy fan. I'm not pretending I was there for the first one. I was born in '98, so I wasn't there for it. But it doesn't matter when you're born. I'm a massive effing fan of Indiana Jones, and this is a solid conclusion to a solid series that not only pays homage to what we got before, but also pays homage to a character that we haven't seen in this depth before, while also having great action, great humor, great set pieces, and a really cool ending to a really great movie. Tell me in the comments down below what you thought about Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny without spoiling it in the comments, and please, for the love of God, if you're worried, don't be. It's not woke. It's a fantastic film and a great ending. Please go see it in theaters and support this movie. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.